Hello out there, guys. Hope you're doing really well. I am now back in Mexico. I had a few weeks back in the UK, where it was nice. I spent time with family and friends, people who I really didn't think I would see for a long time, if at all, because of all the crazy BS, the restrictions and everything. But the UK, they dropped all the restrictions. I think the narrative kind of fell down there quite strongly, so they dropped everything. So I made a quick dash back, and yeah, it was nice to see people and have a bit of a break. I'm quite relentless with all this stuff, putting out information, working with people, and things like that. Yeah, good to be back though. Good to be back. And actually, what was weird is that I wanted to go back and experience some good old English weather, some rain, some grey clouds, and all that kind of stuff. Some cold days, and actually, it was the opposite when I was there. It was just bright and sunny, and it was a little bit disappointing because I just wanted to experience that again. Being in Mexico where it's hot all the time, I couldn't wait to get back and just experience some of the dampness and the cold and all that stuff. But it didn't pan out like that. So people were telling me that I brought the weather with me, which was quite funny. But yeah, that's the reason I haven't been uploading much recently. But today I'm going to get into a really important subject, and one that probably might trigger some people, as a lot of my work does. But if you are new here, by the way, please consider subscribing, liking the video, commenting, all that kind of jazz. All helps the YouTube algorithms. So today, guys, I'm going to get into guides, spirit guides, why you shouldn't connect with them, and even like trying to connect with deceased or people that have passed away. Now, it's an issue because the way they have set things up there in the astral is that there are all kinds of entities, and I've mentioned this before in other videos, but we're really going to sort of dive deeper on this specific subject today. But these entities are master manipulators. They are masters at masquerading, at deception. What they do is very conniving, and it's very clever, and actually it's quite genius, because they tap into our weaknesses. They know us and our psyches better than we know ourselves, and that extends individually as well. As an individual, they will know where all your weak spots are, and they will find ways to push on those, your triggers, all your unhealed trauma. They know where to get you, and this is why it's so important that we work on ourselves, and become as strong as we possibly can be to counter that, basically. And so when you're talking of guides, as I've mentioned before, when you're sort of calling out to beings in the astral or the fourth dimension, whatever you want to refer to it as, you're basically playing Russian roulette. I would go a step forward further than that and say you basically are sort of shooting yourself, because in my experience, in this field now for a long time, many years working with many clients, there really isn't anything worthy of connecting to in the astral realm, in fourth dimension. It's either entities or it's entities that are masquerading as light beings. And this can be, and as I've mentioned many times before, friendly aliens, friendly angels on the surface at least. But this also extends to, like I say, deceased family members and spirit guides. And I understand why what I'm saying could be quite upsetting, quite triggering for people. I get it totally, and I wish it was different. But I go where the truth is, and that's all that matters. And although it can be triggering and upsetting, in a way it's empowering because we don't fall in that trap again. And I've had and worked with clients who have told me experiences where I've seen firsthand where they have tried to connect with a deceased family member, and they feel that they're getting messages through from this deceased family member. And what ends up happening is, maybe not straight at the start because they have to build trust, so there might be some good experiences that comes with the information that's coming through, but as time goes by, things don't end well. I worked with one client one time, and he thought he was connecting with his father, and he was getting all these sort of confirmation messages, which obviously built trust and faith that it was his father. But in the end, he got into so many issues. He was making all kinds of decisions based on this information that were leading him to some very, very severe situations, and situations that almost destroyed him financially, emotionally, mentally. And it was a complete mess. And I've had, like I say, I've had numerous accounts, or I've heard numerous accounts down the years where people have totally thought that they're connecting him with a deceased family member, and it's turned out to be an entity. Essentially, that's what you're talking about here. So, what I would say to you is to just be very careful. As with anything, you want to show discernment, and it's going with, what feels true rather than what feels good. Especially if someone's just passed over, someone's just died, our natural sense is to want to connect to some aspect of that person. I remember when my granddad died, and I wasn't, into all of this, but I really just wanted to connect with his spirit or his soul or whatever it was. And we have a need for that because it comforts us, and we like to think that they're still there looking after us and looking over us. And I don't believe that anything truly dies. In terms of humans, energy never dies, so their energy hasn't gone. It's questionable where it's gone. If you look into the whole soul meal trap, the soul recycling, hopefully they've gathered and garnered enough information in their physical lives not to go back round that cycle. But we have to be realistic, guys. This is what we're dealing with at the moment. We are involved in a soul meal trap, and it may well be that they go to the light, and who knows, right? Well, we know what happens with that. Maybe they didn't. Maybe they showed some discernment at the point of passing. And this is why it's important to educate people, and really important as a community that, not that we need to dwell on dying, we all want to sort of live as long as possible, but we really need to start thinking about, okay, so when I pass over, where is my energy going to go? Is it just going to be manipulated and funneled into something that is malevolent, or am I going to take control, take responsibility, and make the decisions at that point myself, to make sure that I end up in a better place and have an ultimately a better experience somewhere else. Unless, of course, you do want to come back to planet crazy, which for me, I won't be doing that anytime soon. So for sure, we really, as I say, minimum, we want to be showing discernment with anything that we think that we're connected to. My opinion, don't bother. I wouldn't be trying to connect with a deceased person. The best thing that you can do for family is to educate them about what's going on with the whole soul meal matrix. Don't go to the false white light, all that kinds of stuff. So this also applies to obviously spirit guides as well. And I've heard down the years similar stories of people that have connected to their guides, or what they think is their guides. Initially, they've had all these great insights and things appear to be going really well, and same thing again. 2, 3, 4, 5 months down the line, all these decisions that they're making on the base of guides are ended up in metaphorical car crashes, and the need for wanting to connect to something outside of yourself, is why we're getting caught up in this, especially with guides. We want to feel like we have like a team of beings around us, like angels or something like that. And you can have that team. You just need to know that whatever they're telling you is going to be deceptive and manipulative, and on the surface it could feel quite good, but in the long term it's going to end up in a cul-de-sac. Now, on the flip side, what we do have, and this has been my experience in terms of the inner work that I do and inner work that I've done with clients in terms of IFS, internal family systems, is within you have aspects of your consciousness that are there to help you. I call them protectors, or parts of your subconscious that maybe they fragmented in some kind of trauma, but it's still, what you're doing is you're communicating internally though. So for example, I've spoke about this before, I developed quite a defensive part of my character when I was younger for different reasons, and I've had to work with that part whereby it now is not defensive, and actually it kind of welcomes criticism and welcomes feedback. But there was a time where I wouldn't take to that at all well, because that part of me was developed at a time where I had issues at school and things like that. So there are aspects of our consciousness, can't say it, that are kind of, let's say, working for our greater good, but they're also a part of us, if that makes sense. They're not out there, okay? And that's the difference. People are going out there, they're saying, oh, I want to connect with my guides. And of course, these beings are that's like honey to a bee. They're straight in there, and they will come across in a way which is most malleable to you. So if someone asks to connect with their guide, if you're into angels, they'll come as an angel, or communicate with that person as an angel. Maybe they'll come as, maybe you've got an interest in like Native American culture or something like that. So they will present themselves as that, because that is the thing that you're into. So it's fascinating how they do it, and like I say, it's very clever and manipulative how they do it. But I have seen and heard these beings run whole agendas through people by masquerading. I think I spoke of the story before where a woman contacted me and we had a discussion about Archangel Michael. And she was devastated because I was saying, I don't recommend you connect with Archangel Michael. I mean, she paid to see me, so she wasn't doing the best in terms of her own energy and stuff. So you have to ask the question, where did connecting with Archangel Michael actually get her in the first place? But she was terribly upset. The Archangel Michael apparently had helped her find her pet, and when the pet went missing, and so she had a lot of faith and trust. But then as it transpired and the story rolled out, it turns out that Archangel Michael was getting this woman who was quite a big influencer in the sort of new age spiritual community that she was that was around her area. She was getting people hooked into this false white light grid by encouraging them to through Archangel Michael's messages to hook into this grid, which was then obviously siphoning off other people's energy. And so Archangel Michael managed to get a whole team working for it or him or whatever it is, based on the faith and trust that this woman had through him, through this information that he initially gave about her pet. This is the extent of the manipulation, guys. This is the extent of how conniving they are, how subtle that this is. So again, like I say, I understand it's, you know, it's upsetting if you're new to my work. This is the first video you see. You'll be like, oh my God, you know, I've had it. I've had so many of these conversations where people get really upset with me. They're like, oh, but Tony, who do we connect to? But this is the whole thing, guys. You know, the whole reason that we're in the mess that we're in is that we've been giving our power away. We've been giving our power away to influences outside of ourselves, whether that be a corrupt politician, whether that be Donald Trump's coming to save us, Putin's coming to save us, Archangel Michael's coming to save us, Metatron's coming to save us, the Arcturians are coming to save us. There is so much that is set up to get us to look outside of ourselves. And really the truth is simple. And the truth is, the reason that they have set all this up to get us to look out of our side, and they encourage guides and angels and all that kind of stuff, is because they know that if we self-realize, if we become sovereign, if we understand that actually what we've been seeking is actually inside of us, and we are incredibly powerful, creative beings, then their gig is up, right? Because then you have a population of people that are empowered and are not manipulated anymore, and are sovereign. And you can't enslave that energy. You can enslave an energy which is working on looking for saviors, but you can't enslave sovereign energy. So they need people in that slave, I need a savior mindset, because that makes it a doddle to enslave us. So yeah, it's fascinating what they do. It's downright evil what they do, and we have to be aware of it. So the takeaway, guys, as normal with most of my videos, is don't keep looking out there. Go internally. If you've got questions, this is the thing about guides or connecting with things outside yourself. More often than not, we already know the answer to our questions, you know? Like, you know if you're eating too much sugar, you know if you need to, like, break away from a toxic person, you know maybe if you need to take action on something, you know if you need to change a job or you need to change where you live. It's just we try and kid and lie to ourselves because, you know, the truth doesn't always feel good. So if we connect to a guide, maybe they'll give us an answer that we might want to hear, rather than what we need to hear. And so that's also the pull with these things. So if you've got any like big decisions or decisions that you need to make, go inwards, introspect, not even meditate, just go inwards, ponder, and ask yourself for the honest answer, even if it might hurt or it might not feel so good. That's what you're looking for. You're looking for what feels true rather than what feels good. And we've been so disconnected from our ability to discern through media manipulation and all these programs out there, that we have literally forgotten how to discern information and how to make good decisions. And don't get me wrong, I'm not perfect. I still mess up and, you know, make bad decisions. But my discernment is, you know, a lot better than what it was maybe 10 years ago. And especially in the alternative media, we are people, if you're watching this video, you're going to be kind of targeted anyway, because you're aware, you're probably having conversations with friends and family members to try and get them to see the truth. And so by proxy, you're going to be targeted. You're going to be even more open to manipulation. They're going to target you even more through these things. They don't care what you hook into as long as you hook into one of them. So the bottom line to this information is always empowering, because what I'm telling you is what you're seeking out there is inside. Okay, you only need to connect with you and start to trust you and your own discernment. The more you do it, it's like practicing. It's like a muscle. If you don't use it, then you lose it. It's like willpower. People with strong willpower, when you speak to them, they're always doing things that strengthen that muscle. Maybe they're doing like a fast or something like that, or they've changed their diet and they've only got certain things in their diet, and that takes strength. And the more you use that willpower, the stronger it gets. And it's the same with discernment. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes, and the less manipulated that you get. So yeah, I think I've got across the points that I wanted to make there. If you've got any question, guys, leave them in the comment section below. I'll try my best to get back to you. Obviously, I get bombarded with a lot of questions and emails, so apologies if I don't always get back. But yeah, let me know what you think. And like I say, if you're new here, please consider subscribing, liking. It all helps. And yeah, I'll see you on the next one, guys. You take care.